to this episode of Voices of CS presented as an alumni talk on the topic Key Insights on Biomedical Engineering as a Field of Study. We are very happy to have you all here. I'm Radhi from grade 9.
And I'm Vyashri, also from grade 9. Today, we're excited to speak with our alumnus Sai Adharsh Babu, CS Academy class of 2022. He's currently pursuing his Bachelor of Engineering in Biomedical Engineering at Ulster University in the UK and is now in his third year internship.
Biomedical engineering is a field many students are curious about, but very few get to hear about in depth.
So today, we hope to explore Sai's journey, how he chose this field, his transition to Belfast, his internship experience, and his insights on biomedical engineering as a field of study. Welcome,
Well,
Sai.
Thank you. It's
Sai,
so nice to be here.
Sai, starting with your school years, what were you like academically and in extracurriculars? And did anything at CS spark your early interest in science or engineering?
Honestly, I was pretty normal in school. I wasn't a topper or anything, and I was really average with my marks. But I had a lot of curiosity. I was a kid who had an interest in all kind of sciences, like space, human body, random facts, you name it. I'd read textbooks like the school NCRT books and then go home and check on YouTube videos and in Google what this is about, how things work. And outside classes, I played like multiple sports like karate, athletics, basketball, and badminton, though most of it was for fun. Like I wasn't winning any huge tournaments, to be honest. So yeah, I'm your quintessential high school kid. But one nice thing at CS was how the teachers encouraged this curiosity of mine. So like in one year, I don't remember which year it was, but I was asked to share a fact every single day in the morning after the morning prayers are over. So every day I had to go home, find something new. So I'd say this habit of mine pushed me deeper into science without me even realizing it.
That really helps us see where your journey first began.
Moving on, before choosing your course, what did your application journey look like? Shortlisting countries, understanding courses, preparing documents, and figuring out steps. And was there anything that helped you feel confident during the process?
Um, to be honest, the whole process was like a mini project for me. First, like when I started into it, I was not searching for which country sounded more cool or it would good look on a resume. I was like, which is actually strong in biomedical engineering? Like once I had a couple of countries in mind, I went through a lot of universities. To be honest, I actually checked all the global top 500 universities one by one and looked for biomedical and related courses. From there on, I just shortlisted 6 of the universities that felt right to me. The 3 big things I would say that I considered while choosing them, the first one was exposure. I saw if the university had links with hospitals, companies, or any good research labs. The second one was the course or the module content. Same degree name doesn't always mean the universities have the same subjects. The modules you learn in each university is unique or different to each university. So some are electronically heavy and some are biologically heavy labs, so stuff like that. And the most crucial thing I would say is the practical stuff like the cost of living, the tuition fees, the city you're going to live there, the city you're going to live, the application process, and the scholarship that you may get from your university. For UK, I'd say the application process was pretty straightforward since I applied through UCAS. The main thing that kept me confident throughout this process would be my parents' attitude towards me going and studying abroad. So they didn't say, don't do that, don't do it. Like, they just gave me their approval. They said, you research, we support you, and we decide with you. So knowing that they actually trusted me to take such a big step in my life made it a lot less scarier than it actually was.
That truly gives the students a realistic sense of where to start.
Okay, next question. When did engineering become a clear direction for you? And within engineering, what made biomedical engineering feel like the right fit? Was it the medical side, the technology, or something you discovered while researching courses?
Engineering as a field was always kind of in the background for me from in my life because both of my parents are engineering professors. So from a very young age, words like chemicals, projects, labs were the pretty normal thing you would hear at my home's dining table. So at the same time, I was really fascinated by the concept of the concept of human brains and the biology behind it. It's like, what is a consciousness? Like, how do thoughts form in your head? Or why do I even like this course? Like, if I like something, why do I even like that? What's the thought in my head? So like after I found it out, like I started reading stuff, reading books from the library, searching online. And then randomly while doing that one day, I came across biomedical engineering. Like I was just reading about brain signals and like how to like EEGs and ECGs. And then suddenly this field kept popping up whenever I searched. So in a way, I didn't go looking for the field. The field came looking for me and I bumped into it by accident. Like that, then I realized this field combines engineering and biology. So I felt like this is a field that I can see myself getting into and interested and working for the rest of my life. So that's how I chose biomedical engineering as the field I wanted to do.
That shows how your interests help you shape a unique choice for you.
Carrying on, which universities did you apply to? Which ones offered you a place? And what made Ulster University stand out as the right choice for you?
Well, during my application process, I applied to 6 universities in total, 5 through the UCAS portal and 1 separately. And in the end, I got offers from 4 of them, including the University of Strathclyde, Dundee, Kent, and Ulster University. But when I had to choose, I didn't actually look at the rankings to just choose the university, like which one had the best rankings and choose like that. I had like a few simple criteria I wanted to fulfill before choosing them. The first would be, what exactly am I studying there? It's like I checked the list of modules for each university, cross-referenced them, and then came up with a mix of subjects that I felt was something I wanted to read or wanted to study. The second was, could I comfortably afford going to the university? Because going abroad, I would say for students is a big financial step for a UG degree. So not just tuition, you have to think about your rent, your daily life, and other expenses that you may incur. And the third factor that I mainly considered was was the university connected to the industry that I'm working in? Like I did get scholarships from other places, including Ulster University, but what made me choose Ulster was Ulster University had a really strong biomedical sciences team. So some of the professors who work in the biomedical sciences department are recognized throughout the UK. So, and I was aware that these are the same staff that are going to teach the the biology side of my degree to me. So that was one of the reasons. And the next was the location of the university. Ulster University is located in Northern Ireland, which gives me access to both the UK and the Ireland's biomedical industry. And Ireland is a developing biotech hub currently. So these are like some of the factors that made me choose it. So even though some other universities were higher ranked or had like a lot more exposure with international students, I felt like this university made more sense for my field and my situation.
That definitely helps students understand how thoughtful decision making is.
Moving on, biomedical engineering blends medicine, electronics, mechanics, and computing. Could you walk us through the main subjects and labs you study, like biomechanics, medical devices, imaging, instrumentation, anatomy, or programming, and the kinds of practical work or projects involved?
Yeah, if I simplify it, biomedical engineering is basically engineering for human body and healthcare. So in my courses, I studied subjects like anatomy and physiology, so like how the body works, how the heart, lungs, brains, and the muscles work. Instrumentation, it's about all the devices you can use, like EEGs, blood pressure monitors, ventilators, and even how to use electronic sensors like sensors and amplifiers, stuff like that. The next would be medical imaging. So like the basics of CT scanning, MRI, ultrasound, and how these images are produced, and how can you infer the data from the images. The next was biomechanics. So how you move, how the joints and bones in your body move, how could you design prosthetics and supports? And the key factor would be programming and data. So you learn how to use programming languages like Python, you work with Arduinos, you learn MATLAB and Simulink. So you get a real hand experience in both the technology and the biological sides. In labs, I'd say it was more than just theory. We had hands-on experience building small circuits or working models and projects that are related to biomedical fields, like prosthetic arm, like a demo prosthetic arm, or like an exoskeleton system. We learn how to use softwares to filter noise and pattern analysis on EEG signals, and even do some 3D printing and 3D designing for parts and fixtures. And every semester we do get a group project where a healthcare problem is given to us, and we have to think as engineers, how could we improve the current system or propose any concepts that can help develop this field a bit more.
That honestly gives a really clear picture on students that actually choose biomedical engineering, what they're actually going to learn.
Furthermore, moving from Erode to Belfast must have been a big change. How did you adjust academically, personally, and socially during your first few months?
Oh, it was a big jump. That was my first time leaving India alone, and my first time living in abroad for an extended period of time. Academically, it was actually fine. The style is different, but you get a bit more independence. But if you manage school well enough, I'd say you can adapt. You just have to stay on top of lectures and assignments and don't forget to submit them. The biggest shift would be outside of the class. Like you suddenly have classmates from so many different countries, people who speak with different accents that are hard to even understand. And well, my spoken English confidence took a hit there. So I had to practice my speech, practice fast speech, quick replies, and stuff like that. The funny part is the first months are actually the easiest because everything is new and exciting to the students that go there. You're exploring, meeting people, trying new foods. For many students, I'd say the tougher part comes later when all this excitement slows down and the homesickness finally hits you. You start missing family and friends, Indian food, even the weather of Erode. So when this happened, like keeping in touch with my family and me cooking my own meals was some of the things that helped me control this like homesickness and stuff like that. And I also like built a small friend group whom I can share my tough situations with. So yeah, it was a big change, but you can gain a lot of experience and grow through these changes.
That's reassuring to hear how the adjustment happens over time.
Moving on, you're now in your third year internship. How does the internship process work in your program? What kind of work or projects are you involved in right now?
Right now, I'm doing an internship at Boston Scientific in Ireland, and this counts as a third year for my degree. The process is quite straightforward, similar to what internships work in India. So the companies connect with the universities through career fairs and online postings. The university helps us with CVs, cover letters, and mock interview sessions, so we get hands-on practice with them. Then we apply, and each company does its own interview process, sometimes online, and sometimes you have to attend in person. So students can also look for internships outside of the UK and Ireland on their own, but you have to handle most of the application process and the verification process for that. As an international student, I also had to get an Irish work visa since on top of my UK student visa, since I am an international student from India. So there are extra paperwork and layers of extra paperwork for international students who wish to do abroad placements. In my role, I am currently working as in the product development team as an intern, and I work on multiple sections like help with inventory management in the lab, like designing and printing 3D prototypes and components for devices, working on a robotic arm automation in the lab, and I've even joined clinical lab observations to improve my clinical skills. So like I'm getting a mix of engineering exposure to real world medical devices and also understanding how a big medtech company operates on a day-to-day basis.
That really helps us understand the practical side of the course.
And for the students that are curious about the field, what kind of career paths can biomedical engineering lead to? Perhaps maybe about medical devices or healthcare technology, research labs, or even AI-based healthcare roles?
Yeah, that's one of the nicest things about this field. It's not just a narrow job road. You can work on like a variety of things. You can work in medical device companies, like helping design, test, and improve devices like stents, pacemakers, or surgical tools. You can work in hospitals as clinical or biomedical engineers, making sure the device works, or you can test the device for periodic maintenance and stuff. And if you're into data and maths, you can focus on signal and image processing, work with EEGs, brain signals, and MRI scans. Then you have the prosthetic and rehabilitation industry, designing better artificial limbs and braces. If you're into software, there's a big digital health and AI market, apps, monitoring systems, AI models for assisting doctors. And of course, if you are really interested in the subject as a whole, you can go into deeper into research. You can do a master's or a PhD, work on things like tissue engineering, neuroengineering, brain-computer interfaces. So whether you're more into software or hardware or more into research, there's something you can do in biomedical engineering. There's something that you can focus in biomedical engineering as a field.
It's exciting to see how wide the possibilities are.
Moving on to the final question, biomedical engineering is evolving rapidly. Which areas do you see growing the most in the coming years, and what direction do you personally hope to explore after graduation?
I think the next few years are going to be a really big growth boom for this field because some areas I see growing fast are AI in healthcare, like not to replace doctors per se, but to support them, like reading scans, spotting patterns, analyzing data from like MRI scans, and wearable and home monitoring systems, like devices that quickly track your health while you live your day-to-day lives. Smart prosthetics, devices that feel more natural for people to wear and that can adapt to every single person based on their specific works. And the main thing is affordable devices, low cost solutions that can reach even rural areas and can be used in government hospitals. So, India is actually in a very interesting position right now because our healthcare needs are huge and the medtech sector is currently expanding at a rapid rate. So it's expected we will have about more than a 30 billion budget for the medtech field by the end of 2030. So there's a lot of opportunities for engineers who can build practical and affordable solutions. For me personally, I'd say I'm very interested in cognitive neuroscience and brain machine interfaces. So basically how you can connect the brain to the computer. That's the gist of it. After graduation, I'd love to work in this field and research in this area, like combining AI, neuroscience, and engineering.
That gives us both the global picture and your personal plans.
So that we're done with our questions, we will open the floor for questions from the audience.
You can either put them in the chat or unmute and ask them yourself.
We have one from Nakshatra. What subjects did you take in 11th and 12th grade?
Oh, in 11th and 12th, I took the biomaths group. So biology, mathematics, physics, chemistry, and English. But you could get into biomedical engineering even if you don't have like even if you don't into like the biomath group. Even if you have computer science, you can get into the biomedical field.
Do you think those subjects helped you pursue biomedical engineering?
Well, yeah, to be honest, like you get while going to undergrad, you learn everything from scratch. To be honest, like even in Indian universities, they start with physics, mathematics in your first years. They start from the basics. So even if you don't have a prior biology knowledge, you can learn them. But studying in school did help me get a foothold or like a starting point from where I can improve my learning and develop my knowledge on these fields.
We have another question. On a scale of 1 to 10, how easy was it applying and getting into a university in the UK?
Um, I would say it falls somewhere between 5 and 6 because the process of application itself is an easy process. So you just the main part is you finding out which university you want to go and figuring that out. But the application process in and of itself is simple. The main problem would be if the university wants to conduct an interview with you, so you have to attend a virtual interview, and then verifying all these processes, getting your visa, processing those informations, getting any certifications or IELTC exam certificates for your English language proficiency. So stuff like that might take a bit of time. Apart from the process was straightforward. The biggest thing would be you going there for the first time alone. That would be your biggest experience, the biggest hurdle you have to overcome.
Um, we have another question. Does does your course require more of physics than other subjects?
Um, to be honest, well, I wouldn't say that. Like, I do learn physics. I learned like in my first year, I learned solid mechanics and fluid mechanics, and even biomechanics, like how the bones and joints move and forces applied on them. So you do need physics, but physics is not the only factor. You learn electronics, you learn coding, you learn biology. So it's a mix between all the subjects. So you can like mostly if you're interested in all of these subjects, it's a really good foothold because you can go into any of the fields that has these subjects. So you have like a general idea of all the concepts of basic engineering.
We have another question asking if you wrote any NEET or G or any other specific exam related to your career path.
Well, I did write both NEET and JE, and I did pretty good. I'd say I did pretty good in JE. And NEET was not as much as I expected. I never intended to go to medical field, but it was not as good I expected. But JE mains, I did write pretty good. But I felt like in current situations, biomedical engineering in India, like at my time, because it was right after a bit after COVID. So at that time, getting into a field in biomedical engineering was in India would not be the best move I could have done. So and I wanted a lot since I wanted to get into research, I wanted a lot of global exposure. So that's part of the reason I chose to come abroad instead of studying India at that time. But I'd say currently we have a lot more opportunities in India over the last 2 to 3 years.
Um, another question is since you mentioned math, is there relevance in math in any way? And what are the mandatory subject requirements for biomedical engineering and what are good to have?
Oh, I'd say you will be using math. I wouldn't say you won't be using any math. You would be using math and physics, but you will also be studying engineering mathematics as the first year subject. So that is a common subject you're going to experience no matter what field you're going to go in. Your first year would be common subjects, engineering mathematics, physics, basic biology, stuff like that. So if you want to like know about the subject requirements, I'd say you can get into biomedical engineering even though if you don't have a biology based background. Like each university has its own rules and regulations regarding that. So in my university, I was told that even if you don't have a biology background, if you have like marks that qualify or meet the requirements, you can get in because you will learn everything from scratch starting from year one. But I'd say if you're going to start, I'd say having, even though you don't do biology in your school, you might have like computer math or stuff like that. Just having a basic understanding or like doing your own self learning can really help a bit when you get there, so you can catch up on your academic stuff easy and don't get led back by the sheer volume of knowledge you're going to receive at that time.
Are there any suggestions for some universities that students can consider in India and outside of India if you have information?
Um, well, like I can't give exact names because I have just done research for my own university and a couple of others. So I'd say you have to choose this based on your current, like a couple of factors. The first would be based on your academic performance. Like a lot of universities require you to have more than 80%, more than 90%. So there's a couple of factors. One, the GPA or the marks you get in your grade 12. The next would be any extracurriculars that you might have done. Even though that's not a biggest factor, it will definitely help the interview or the panel committee choose you as a candidate for studying there. In India, I would say you have quite a lot of options. If you go via the JE route, you can probably get into IIT. IIT Madras, I would say, is one of the biggest biomedical universities you can find in India. It has a really great biomedical program. But if that is not your jam and you wanted to come outside of India, I'd say there are a couple of universities in India that have partnerships with abroad universities. So you would be doing the first 2 years in India and then coming for your last 2 or the final 2 years to abroad. So you get a mix of both of your education systems. So you have like hybrid, direct abroad, or completely Indian pattern. So you can choose any of them depending upon all the situations that your marks, your financial situation, stuff like that.
We have a question, I think it's maybe the last one, about the extracurriculars you persuade in school and advice to our students for what they can try in the form of competitions, books, or online courses, internships, projects, research, etc.
Well, I'd say extracurriculars in schools that I pursued, like I played quite a bit of sports, as I said, like I played badminton, karate, athletics. So I pursued after I took a gap year after I finished school. So I started a year late after I finished. So during that year, I dedicated the whole year to doing karate. So that was one of the things that I'd say that boosted my extracurricular resume. So I participated in quite a few competitions during that time. Advice to our students for what they can try. If you are really interested in getting abroad, I'd say you can build connections. Like I'd say like MUNs, stuff where you have like where you can express your feelings, speak with other people, discuss topic, debate on stuff. Those are really good experiences that abroad universities consider. And if like speaking in front of people is not your thing or you're a bit shy, I'd say you can work on any projects. You can make a GitHub repository. You can work on any like small projects. You don't have to have like a research paper or review paper style of projects. You can work on small projects that any high school kid can do. You can document them, send them along with your CV or resume when you're applying for the universities. And I'd say that would be a crucial factor because you have shown research independence and shown that you can learn stuff about that field and you can get them out as solid projects to show that you know knowledge about that field. And yeah, leadership. It's leadership. It's everything. Like, if you get a chance to apply for the school head boy, if you apply for like a house captain for any of the houses, go do it. There's nothing stopping you. You have to be proactive in subjects like that. So if you want to do it, there's nothing stopping you. Explore your boundaries.
And would it help if you had any achievements or let's say awards in sports like medals, right? You would get a first or second place in state tournaments.
They do definitely help you. They will definitely help you because getting even getting a district or state level medal in a sports or field or any academic competitions like an Olympiad, if you rank among some of the top in our country, so they show commitment and they show perseverance. They show that you can work on a single topic and achieve results in them. They show that you are tenacious and persistence might be the best word. You can work on something for a long time and show results. So that might be one of the leading factors that will help with the sports, with the help that your sports certifications can provide you. They won't be a direct factor for getting admission. So even though if you have good marks, your sports certificate will just be like an additional step or like an extra +1 that you can give to your resume. So it's not the final step, but it definitely does help your application.
Adarsh, I have a question about the international scene in Northern Ireland. I know some of our kids apply to the UK, and it's usually England that they prefer. London is the most preferred. I'm myself not very sure about the diversity in Northern Ireland, especially do we have children studying from Asian countries, from India in particular?
I would say you have quite a lot of Indian students here. As far as I know, there is a master's degree program here where out of the 130 students, 100 of them are Indians.
Oh,
So
that's
you
really
have a
great to
lot
know.
of
Yeah.
Indians here. You get a lot of, mainly undergrad, you find a lot less students, but for masters, you can see a lot of students from India.
Okay, that's good to know. Thank you so much.
Also, I would like to ask you about the cost involved within the course that you chose and how exactly it's been effective for you to choose the course, how it suited you.
Oh, that is part of the reason I actually chose Ulster University, to be honest, because in mainland UK, the courses you can choose ranges anywhere between £22,000 to £25,000 per year. So that's roughly, I would say, roughly 25 to 30 lakhs per year. So most Indian students wouldn't prefer doing that for 4 years straight. In the UK, you can get a mix between your years. Say there are some years universities that gives you just 3 years, and there are universities that give you 4 years, where 1 year is like what I'm doing is a mandatory internship year. So based on that, your cost changes. But most universities, it's over 22 to 25,000 per year. Ulster University, the reason I chose it because biomedical engineering as a field is something that was new here. But the team that is teaching biomedical engineering are well-seasoned staffs from other departments. So even though the department is new, I'm going to be learning from some of the best professors you can find in that field. That was part of the reason I chose here. So the fees for me would be about £17,000, and I did get a scholarship, so it would be a bit more or less. And yeah, if students are going abroad, that is another key factor that they have to check. Like if you're eligible for any scholarships in that university, because most university offers international scholarships for students. And you can even check for Indian scholarship because there are a couple of programs in India which offer student scholarships for going and studying in international programs.
And would you be able to share the living expenses that you have right now?
I would say my living expenses is on the low side because I don't spend that much. But generally, people who like if you cook your own meals, like if you eat outside regularly, it might go up. But if you can cook your own meals and take care of your own stuff like if you don't use a dishwasher and like if you reduce electricity use, stuff like that, you can manage for daily necessities and stuff like that. You can manage within £100. That's the higher end. 120 to £100 is the higher end, so you can manage within that per month. But you may need additional expenses for like travel, stuff like that, if you're commuting and your accommodation. So it might, if you're using a university accommodation, if you're in London, like Greater London, it might go anywhere from 9 to 15 lakhs per annum, like per year. And if you're outside London, 7 to 9 would be the lower end. And if you're going a bit higher, if you want like a studio or something, that would be 15 lakhs per year.
And are there courses, for example, even your own, that give you jobs immediately after UG, or is there any part-time jobs during the study or post-study
Oh
option?
yeah, sorry. Well, you can actually do part-time jobs. I'd say it's better that you do part-time jobs because the cost of living here really puts a lot of financial stress on students. So if you're on a student loan, doing part-time job is one of the key benefits that you get here. You get 20 hours of work per week, and on vacation times, you can work up to 40 hours. So that is a really good chance the students get here to earn part of their cost of living back. And in terms of universities, yeah, every university has like a tie-up or a partnership between a few companies. So if a company is hiring graduates or students who have finished their degree, those university students take preference first, and then other students from other universities will be given preference. So you have like connections between universities, but you can apply for other jobs because university companies come to you for graduate position. If you have a strong enough CV, they will come to you for jobs.
Okay, and finally, Sai, before we close, is there anything important about biomedical engineering that we haven't asked yet?
Anything important about biomedical engineering? I'd say there are two advices or stuff I wanted to give to students who are trying to pursue biomedical engineering. So the first is about the field itself. It's a great field if you genuinely like both sides, engineering and biology. And it is not a shortcut for an MBBS degree, and it is not a light engineering degree. So you will see math, physics, electronics, coding, anatomy, and physiology. It's like a combo of all of these. So if you're interested in that, it is worth exploring. And the second would be about choosing your future path, not just biomedical engineering. Don't choose a course only because it's trending or good if someone else took it. Spend a bit of time to actually see what you'll be studying in that course. It's okay to be confused at this age, because I was pretty confused at your age. Think of this as a step in your career. You can adjust the path of your career with internships, selectives, higher studies. You can change what you want to pursue if you feel like the degree you have chosen is not what you want to do in the future. But taking the right first step will always give you a bit more advantage. And the next thing is talk to people, connect with seniors, alumni, teachers, ask them what they actually do in their day-to-day lives. This gives you a realistic idea and a picture that you can't get in any brochures or flyers that you might see. So if I have to sum it up, I'd say pick something where you see yourself working hard and still be curious after a few years. If you get that right, you will figure the rest out along the way.
That's a wonderful note to end on. Thank you.
Sai, thank you so much for sharing your journey with such clarity.
Thank you.